Skill transfer is the ability to successfully apply learned skills, behaviour or knowledge from one context to another, such as how well what you learn in school can be applied in the workplace. There are two broad types of skill transfer, near and far. Near transfer is when what was learned and what you were trying to apply it to are very similar, if not the same, and therefore quite easy. For example, when students are taught how to solve maths problems, they can apply this knowledge to physics problems. Far transfer, on the other hand, is when there is a much larger difference between the learned skill and what it affects, which makes the process much harder. For example, this is when students apply what they have learned in their physics class to create a robot. There are two main theories of thought surrounding the occurrence of far transfer. The first is Aristotle's doctrine of formal discipline, which argues the mind is made up of a set of general ability, meaning that the general principles of problem solving and learning are much more important than the exact content. In contrast, there is Thorndike's theory of identical elements, which argues transfer is much less common than we think, and the extent to which transfer occurs depends on the different components shared between what has been learned and what it affects. If Thorndike's theory is true, this holds important implications for places like schools and traditional education that rely heavily on far transfer, as they aim to teach students general skills that can later be applied to a multitude of domains. It was found that Xiao Lu, who could remember pi to over 67,000 digits, could only correctly repeat back an average digit span. However, this doesn't mean that there is no evidence for far transfer. One study found that for children who were 2 months either side of the school entry date, those that went to school did better on executive functions tests. Another study found that when comparing first and third year students doing law, medicine, psychology and chemistry on two types of general reasoning problems, the psychology students were able to spontaneously transfer their knowledge. The reason for the inconsistent evidence for and against far transfer is argued to be because not all transfer is equal. Far transfer happens, but it is rare and seldom spontaneous, and depends on the content, context, and practice. And those are the basics of skill transfer.